some of these guys are saying, which you need to shut them up because they don't know better, okay? Like Tom Barkin, Richmond Fed president, non-voting member. Shut up, please. Okay, please shut up. I just go back in your hiding spot, go into your room and look at charts and figures. Just shut up and stop making public comments. Because he says we're committed to returning inflation to our 2% target and have made it clear we're going to do whatever it takes. Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester, please, you need to shut up. Okay, voting FOMC says inflation is not going to come down quickly. She's seeing little signs of progress on inflation. Says we must see convincing evidence that inflation is coming down before stopping those rate hikes. San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly, another one, needs to shut up. Nowhere near almost done. Says inflation is far too high. And then we have James Bullard, St. Louis Fed President, been around for a while. Let me just, before I get to what he's saying now, let's go back to a little history, Daniel. Sorry I'm taking a little long on this, but we have to go back. In June 2021, this guy said he sees core inflation will be 2.5% in 2022. Okay, we're at 9%. He revised that in November, said, oh, wait, November, let me see. He said, we're only going to see 2 rate hikes in 2022, which means 2 25 basis point rate hikes in 2022. We just went 75 the last 2. Then in January, he's like, holy shit, I'm so wrong on this. He goes, we're going to have 4 rate hikes now in 2022. Again, wrong. Now, what is he saying? Totally on the other side of the spectrum, which is good news, which is really good news. If you're following this guy and do everything opposite of what he says, you're going to make an absolute fortune. He says we need to go to 4%. To 4%. Okay? Soft landing is possible, but Fed still needs to keep hiking rates. He says he supports front-loading rate hikes. Fed still has some ways to go to get to restrictive policy. He says the Fed should get the rates at 3.75 to 4% by year end. By year end. We're at 2.5. 2.5. We're expecting a 50 basis point hike right now. That's what's pricing in for September. So he's saying 4% by year end. And he says the Fed, same thing. What Mary Daly said, what Loretta Mester said, and what Tom Barkin said. All these idiots said the same thing, Daniel. We need to see convincing evidence of inflation coming down before the Fed is satisfied that it's doing your job. Since you guys, I'm sorry, all right?
Say Florida. Don't say the other word.
No. I won't say that word. But since you guys are such idiots and don't understand the markets, I'm going to explain them to you. And yes, that sounds arrogant, but they need this, okay? So you don't have convincing evidence. That's what they're saying. We don't have, and they're saying this is the past couple of days they all came out with this, okay? Well, I'm on vacation. I got to see this shit. This is what pisses me off, Daniel. So you need convincing evidence. How about oil down 30%? Gasoline prices down 25%. How about copper prices down 40% from its highs? How about lumber down 50% in 3 months? How about the declines of wheat, fertilizer, and corn that we just said, which we saw? How about retail numbers out of Target, Walmart, Kohl's, Macy's, Bed Bath & Beyond? Almost all those retailers where inventory levels are 35% higher than normal. And they all said it's going to take many months to work off this inventory, which means cheaper prices. Supply chains are easing. We're seeing that across the board. This is data I've been reporting to you that we have access to. For 25 years, people have been following it. I told you why Ford and GM and all the auto manufacturers line out their teeth saying that this was going to end 24 months ago, 18 months ago, 6 months ago. Now you're finally seeing it ease. You're even seeing it for numbers, which we'll cover in a second. So you're seeing the supply chains ease. Why? Because you're seeing demand come down. Demand is cooling. So it's a lot easier. Big decline in used vehicle prices as the last numbers. How about housing? Mortgage demand falling to its lowest level, Dan, since 2000. So what does that mean? Right? Think about that. So fewer people are going to be buying houses, which means they're not going to be buying appliances, paint, lumber, sheetrock, materials, everything that goes into a new house, or even if you're moving. Or what about the consumers, the things that they purchase, like furniture, carpets, paintings, lawnmowers, all this stuff. Right? This impacts all of this. But they're not seeing, and I'm quoting here, the Fed needs to see convincing evidence of inflation coming down before the Fed is satisfying that it's doing its job. I can't even talk because I'm so pissed. So that's what they're saying, that they need to see evidence. Like, this isn't evidence. I'm not saying that we're done, but there's evidence showing that what you have right now is obviously working, and it's going to get progressively tougher, the market conditions. And it's working right now at 2.5% interest rates. Then you want to bring them to 4%, and you're admitting that this is a lagging indicator and it takes a while. If you bring them to 4%, we're overvalued by 25% on the S&P 500 if you bring this to 4%. The market's going to come down another 25% from you if you bring it to 4%. You need to go up a half point September, analyze the data. September is going to be ugly. You're going to see all these numbers coming down tremendously. You're seeing it right now. Okay, you might not see it in food a little bit longer. Yes, we want gasoline prices to come down, but now what are they? 380, 370 here? That I'm seeing 380 I paid last night. So they were $5 here. And it's a big difference. They were $3. They're still high, but you're seeing it slowly go in the right direction. So the moderation is that you're seeing that, right? How about the recent survey CNBC just took with SurveyMonkey, with small business survey? 77% think inflation is still going to rise. 75% say inflation will have a negative impact on their businesses. At 57%, so close to 6% think we're in a recession. All those three things say that small businesses are cutting back spending dramatically, if that's what they really believe. We're seeing tons and tons and tons of evidence. For you to say we still need to see evidence is insane. It means that these guys have no idea what they are doing, Daniel. No idea what they're doing. That's the biggest risk to the market right now. It's the Fed, it's rates, and they're going to go way, way too far in this. You're seeing this work. You got to get out there. You're seeing it. If you get out there and get out of your little circles with all your little rich people and all them pulling up in the Ferraris and stuff and your little freaking thing, you got to see Main Street America, middle class America. They're starting to struggle. You're seeing it. They have money to spend. It's not horrible, but you're seeing the decline almost in, I don't want to say in everything, but you're seeing it hurt so many people out there. You're seeing the declines. You're seeing higher interest rates impact the markets. It's going to get worse at 2.5%. I understand if you bring the 3%, you're talking 3.75, 4%. You absolutely have no clue what's going on, which is evidence based on the track record. So the good news is that Bullard has been wrong almost his whole freaking career. It's great that he was wrong because he was really, really wrong, saying we're not going to need rate hikes. Now he's going crazy and saying the contrarian indicator is James Bullard. Right now, you should be buying stocks because at 4%, he's absolutely out of his mind. And all these Fed governors are absolutely out of their mind. They're not doing their job. They're not seeing what's going on out there, which is sad because their job is to follow their constituents and listen to them. If you listen to them, you would see these stats that I just said, and they haven't. Sorry to go on so long about that.
No, I like that. I'm gonna play devil's advocate just 1 second here, because what he's referring to in the sense of we got to see meaningful inflation come down, I believe he's talking about on the readings. So the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, next reading for this month, we're in August now, time flies, for July, comes out August 10th, I believe. That was just a quick search. So that's next week, right? Today's the 4th. All my days are running together, Frank.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll get to see that CPI. If that's above the 9.2% that we saw last month, then this guy, okay, you can give him some salt. However, just as you pointed out, is there any way that it prints higher than that with what's going on? I mean,
it could print higher. You know why? Because here's what the Fed did.
Rent income or
rent.
Cost,
Rentals account for 40% of CPI, and rent is still moving higher.
Yeah.
Right. So what the Fed has done over the past 25 years, and I've done research on this, they revised this index so many times to make sure that it almost never shows inflation.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They revised it so many times with different. It's a totally different method of calculating compared to the 80s with inflation. If you use the same method as inflation as in the 80s, we would be much, much higher than 80s. Would be the highest inflation we've ever seen. However, they've always made it, just like the Fed always, listen, remember when it was unemployment rate. We need to see the unemployment rate go below 4%. We need to see it go below 4%. It went below 4%. And how they justify keeping rates at zero? Oh, well, we're going to look at the inflation rate now. And inflation rate's under 2%. And since it's been under 2% for such a long time, it's not going to go higher. So we can keep them low. Oh, they're a little bit above 2.5%. That's okay. 3%, that's okay. Yeah, so they just keep changing as they go. Just like
moving the goalposts. That's what you do.
But then remember when it used a recession? How does the whole entire world define a recession?
Yep.
2 straight declines, negative GDP growth. You see it, and they actually play this, and you can see a million people mention this in the media. We get it. No. This isn't a real recession because unemployment's still good, even though you're seeing everyone, not everyone, but so many companies laying off employees now. So many companies laying off employees. That data, you're seeing the data, even in real time. Wait till you see the unemployment data. It's going to be horrible over the next 3-4 months.
And when you say that, sorry to interrupt, everybody from like Robinhood exchanges, they're cutting people like crazy,
companies
to Oracle, to everybody else. Yeah. So
Microsoft's slowing. You see Google slowing, Apple slowing, but some of these are actually cutting. But just across the board, you're seeing it. You're seeing it in a lot of industries. So for these guys not to see this and understand the markets from our point of view, when I say our point of view, I'm talking about everyone listening to this, everybody that has a job, everybody that pays their bills. It's kind of a joke. You're seeing prices come down. We need for them to come down. Remember, we need moderation. This way the Fed says, okay, we're going to slow. They're not talking about slowing. They're talking about getting super, super aggressive, even more aggressive. If they really go to 4%, especially by the end of this year, which is insane. If they do, you're going to see the market come down dramatically from here. We have to stop at 3%. At least 3% and analyze the data. If we're seeing inflation pick up after that, which we're going to see in everything that I just mentioned, if you're seeing copper prices take off, lumber price take off, oil and gas take off, it's different. But as of right now, you're seeing most of these things come down in price, and they're going to continue to come down in price. And not all of a sudden just going to go higher, especially with higher interest rates. So for these guys to be that far out there and not understand this and allow these guys to speak publicly is a joke. We need one guy to speak, Powell. That's it. You lock these guys in a closet. Just they go into meetings. Nobody cares, seriously. But they're able to move the markets now. But the fact that they get so much press coverage, and you know, again, a lot of these guys, they all have to be popular and me, right? That's the whole social media generation. Me. Look at me. So they want to, you know. 10 years ago, no one knew any of the Fed. Now you know every one of them because they're all talking out and speaking at conferences and saying what they think, and it's totally different from what Powell is saying sometimes. So, you know, just keep these guys locked up in a closet, you know, put a muzzle on them because they have absolutely no clue what they're talking about. We've seen that for many years, these guys. But this just frustrates the hell out of me. I didn't want to go that long on this, but man, come on, we are seeing some signs, but CPI, if you look at the CPI data with rent accounting for 40%, yes, it's going to be high. But if you're looking at almost all the other components.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what's important, right? That's real America.
Mark your calendars, people. August 10th will be interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, and hopefully they're not using that because there's just so many gauges showing that moderation. And again, these are all facts that I'm saying. I'm not just like, this is opinion. These are all numbers that I track that, you know, we were saying inflation is going to go through the roof. The Fed's bunch of days have no idea what they're talking about. We've been saying this for 24 months, 18 months. So we even adjusted our portfolios to say, wow, there's a fundamental difference in November. This is a massive change, and the Fed's not going to be there for you anymore. We even lightened up on some of our positions. Granted, we've had losers and we've been wrong, Daniel, right? So we always say we're wrong. But with this, just being able to see this come and where we are right now as inflation is moderating and the Fed just like, they want to go even further. It just shows how out of touch they are with America. And it's very, very sad because you're about to really destroy our economy if you go to 4%. They have no idea what that's going to. For you to even say that number, you're out of your fucking mind to say that. Sorry. You're out of your mind to say 4% by the end of the year. You are out of your mind. You've probably been on vacation for 5 months and just came back and have no idea what's going on and maybe looked at a CPI reading. For you to say 4% right now and you're supposed to be one of the smartest people in the room, you're absolutely out of your mind. We can't go to 4% with the current data of what we're seeing. Maybe we have to go to 4% if we see gasoline prices go to $5, $6, if we see oil prices go to $150 again, if we see fertilizer prices and food prices. That's different. The data right now suggests we should be no higher than 3%. And hopefully the Fed does its job because if they do, this is a soft landing. Maybe we come back and test the lows a little bit here and there, but you're going to see some buying come back into this market finally if they get this just halfway right. 4% is 0% right.
0% right.
0%.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we'll 0%. See, because like I said, we got the August 10th number, and then the meeting in September. Depending on that data, they'll see about a 50 basis point or whatever. I'm with you. I just think if they get to 4 by the end of the year, or even Powell hints at that, I think you're right. I mean, stocks are going to go way down. Longer term, and the permeable in me, which I hate using that term, is, hey, that'll do a lot for opportunities. That'll bring a lot of good quality stocks down, like we've talked about earlier this week. However, that's why it's okay to have some cash on the sidelines and be nimble, because you have to deal. This is the risk, like you said. And investors, you got to pay attention to this. I mean, leave it to us. Don't go crazy. We can laugh about it and go crazy here and rant. That helps. But yeah, it's just something we have to pay attention to, unfortunately.
Yeah.